Islam.
Wow.
Start off with the Moorish American prayer. 2 fingers on the right, 5 on the left, facing the east. Allah, Father Universe, Father Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, and Justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, through his holy prophet, true Allah. Amen.
Amen.
Who have the reading of the divine constitutional bylaws.
Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is a holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God, Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No members to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion, but to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and a partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure of love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Noble Jew Ali, founder, Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Jew Ali. Amen. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Jew Ali. Islam.
Gratitude for the reading, Brother Solo. Just as Brother Solo did, I'm basically moving on. We'll be requiring more and more brothers, members to step up to do particular things. I was encouraged that 1 week when we chimed in on Mission 30's meeting. That was a very encouraging meeting. I think everybody actually went in and shared. So I got inspired by that. So I was like, you know what? I started delegating some stuff. So I know Solo has experience, chairing meetings, stuff like that. So I gave that to him. And also, the fact that, he's pretty astute in the lessons. He had some time, put in, and, so I definitely take that into consideration. But, so, moving along, Moors. I hope everybody's been doing good, maintaining. I mean, it's kind of a rough reality to grasp. But yeah, we're pretty much living like almost one of these third world countries in a sense. It's not as bad as theirs, but it's close to it. It's like something out of the movies. And I just message to all Moorish Americans from basically from up top. Nothing officially really was written out except on what to do. I can share that with you, Sister Sheikah's Tamika Gray L had put out something as far as what you can do with tips and how to prevent, washing hands, keeping your distance, all those particular stuff you find on the CDC, but she added a little extra to it. I'll just say I'd encourage keep up with that. They're encouraging people to wear masks now for the coronavirus. That's something that you got to get clear on why that is. So I would say this. I had talked, me and Sister Tamika Gray L were quickly chatting on the WhatsApp this morning, and she said that really it's for the mask now, or really for the symptomatic people. And really it's because they can't detect who actually has it, because there's people who have the coronavirus, but they're not showing you symptoms. And even though they're not showing no symptoms, they still are capable of passing it off to other people. This is why it was able to grow so quickly in the United States and globally, because people had it and they didn't know what it was, and it didn't show any symptoms, so they were passing it off. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I told you guys, I mentioned a while, probably a few weeks ago, Meek Mills had came out and said he might have had it back in December, but he didn't know what it was. It just knocked him on his butt, and he lost about 15 pounds. You know what I'm saying? My son's mom, she said she might have had something. She was sick. I know some other people were really, really sick, and it was like, yeah, I got the flu, but it's hitting me hard. Like there's some other stuff. You know what I mean? So we got to consider that the fact that that asymptomatic factor is what is causing it to spread a lot faster, and we can't necessarily take a risk of that. This is a very engineered bio entity. I'm gonna say it again. It's a very well engineered bio entity. It has the nature of the A virus, where it goes into the immune system and so forth and so on. The only thing is that it can be defeated. It can be, once you get it, doesn't mean it's curtains. I actually found out 2 of my friends on Facebook actually caught it, and they are now in recovery. They weren't, they weren't in the hospital that long, so they were in the hospital. They found out they had it. They were in there for a few days. They got out, and they're in recovery. They say they feel a lot better. Um, you know, when you see like Idris Elba, the two basketball players from what was that, Utah, I think, uh, they had it, but they were asymptomatic. You know what I'm saying? So they asymptomatic, so they had it. They weren't able to pass it all. They probably passed it all. So that's why they shut it down, NBA, because it's not detected. But see, if you have an elder person, someone in their 60s who like basketball, someone who brought their baby to the arena to watch basketball, and all this, people signing autographs, boop, 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 touching people, da, 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 and next thing you know, elder man, infant go home, and they all of a sudden they get sick. You know what I'm saying? So we all gotta be aware of what we're doing. You know what I mean? Let's keep it. Keep wisdom in the line of all times. So we're not gonna live our lives in fear, though. We know that. Allah is the best of all planners, and it doesn't matter what they throw. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to stop what Allah already put in motion. You know what I'm saying? Islam. So we gotta, it's okay for us to, definitely praise Allah, worship Allah, but tie your camel. You know what I'm saying? So, you definitely want to make sure you have earthly wisdom. You're not necessarily thinking like, hey, Allah's going to protect me. I'm going to go out there. Allah's going to protect you, but also, it's good to use wisdom. Don't be careless. And let's not be careless out there. It's definitely something hitting people hard. And unfortunately, some people are not getting the right treatment when they go to the hospitals and stuff. So that contributes to a lot of deaths. The lack of equipment, lack of testing, the lack of efficient and timely testing. People are waiting a long time. These things kicking in. It's just a mess. And I tip my feds off to the health workers who out there really trying to do their best to clean up this man-made atrocity. You know what I'm saying? So, and Allah have mercy on us. Allah have mercy on everyone. Inshallah. But, there's nothing much, we can do at this time, but just pray, continue to read the Quran, Moorish Holy Quran, read about the Prophet, study your lessons. Ramadan is approaching. Within a few weeks. So we want to prepare ourselves, which will lead us to our lesson. But before we get into the lesson, let's I want to review some Quran questionnaire questions. I think I read the first page the last time we met up, which was 1 through 15. And I'm going to read 16 through 35. Kind of try to quiz yourselves in your head when I run through this. How did the Prophet begin to uplift Moorish Americans? By teaching them to be themselves. What is our religion? Islamism. Is that a new religion? Is that new, or is that an old-time religion? Old-time religion. What kind of flag is the Moorish? It is a red flag with a green with a five-pointed green star in the center. I'm reading too fast. Okay. Let me slow it down. What do the 5 points represent? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. How old is our flag? It's over 10,000 years old. Which is our holy day? Friday. Why? Because Friday is the day of which man was formed in flesh. And it was on Friday when he departed out of flesh. Who was Jesus? He was a prophet of Allah. Where was he born? In Bethlehem of Judah, in the house of David. Who were his father and mother? Joseph and Mary. See, that right there cuts into them being, the actual God, or the actual son of God, and that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Because we as Moorish Americans recognize that Joseph was his father, Mary was his mother. We don't even, in the Moorish Holy Quran, we believe in a resurrection, but we believe it from a different angle. We don't believe it as the Christians will prefer or put it out. So moving forward, 27. Will you give in brief the line genealogy through which Jesus came? Some of the great fathers through which Jesus came are Abraham, Boaz by Ruth, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, and Joseph by Mary. Why did Allah send Jesus to this earth? To save the Israelites from the iron hand oppression of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, who were governing a portion of Palestine at the time. How long has that been? About 2,000 years ago. What was the nationality of Ruth? Ruth was a Moabitess. What is the modern name of the Moabites? Moroccans. Where is the Moroccan Empire? Northwest of Mexico. What is the modern name of Mexico? Africa. What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco? So, where do we get the name Jesus? From the East. Those who are adepts know, how Eastern that title is. Very, So, basically every week when we meet, I'll try to review a page out of the questionnaire. This is the first phase, and then the next phase, I'll just ask the question, and then y'all can follow along and repeat. Or no, I'll ask the question, and then somebody will just respond with the answer. So make sure when each time we meet, that you guys have your Quran, your questionnaire, and constitutional bylaws if you have it. If any of you Moors don't have it, let me know. I can try to make a copy or get copies for you, inshallah. Okay, it's a short chapter, but it's very potent in what it is. We're dealing with chapter 15 of the Moorish Holy Quran. Chapter 15 of the Moorish Holy Quran. Divine ministry of Jesus. Jesus goes to the wilderness for self-examination, where he remains 40 days and subjected to 3 temptations. He overcomes, returns to the camps of John, and begins teaching. Somebody's trying to come in. I'm gonna see if I can let them in. Before I begin with the actual lesson, which, like I said, we're not gonna be long. I'm not gonna tear the Moors too long on this one. But we can actually review. We'll probably review this one in the coming weeks because it's appropriate for Ramadan. But first, I want to rise and give praise to Allah. I want to give honors to his prophet, Noble Ali, honors to the forerunner, Marcus Hosea Garvey, honors to the cornerstone organization of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is the Moorish Science Temple of America. I want to get honors to its leadership, being the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh Edward Medill, down to the present appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh Keith Dangerzell. I want to give quick honors to D. Baliel for tarrying, even though he, inherited what he had, filling in the gap and leaving the doors open for Moors as ourselves to walk through to carry on the Prophet's mission. I give honors to each and every officer of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I rise and give honors to each and every member. Those are the Moorish Moslem Mission 28, out of New Jersey, but servicing the tri-state area and all those in the Northeast. I rise and give honors to each and every one of you. I do ask for forgiveness for not giving my salutations in the beginning. I do apologize. Chapter 15 of the Moorish Quran. Once again, this chapter is the divine ministry of Jesus. Jesus goes to the wilderness for self-examination, where he remains 40 days, is subjected to 3 temptations. He overcomes, returns to the camps of John, and begins teaching. Instruction 1. The harbinger had paved the way. And we learned this from chapter 14, what he was doing. He's paving the way. The Logos had been introduced to men as love made manifest. And he must now begin his divine ministry. And he went forth into the wilderness to be alone with Allah, that he might look into his inner heart and note its strength and worthiness. I want y'all to take note of that, verse 2. And he went forth into the wilderness to be alone with Allah, that he might look into his inner heart and note its strength and worthiness. And with himself he talked. He said, my lower self is strong. By many times I am bound down to carnal life. Have I the strength to overcome and give my life a willing sacrifice for men? When I shall stand before the face of men and they demand proof of my messiahship, what will I say? Then the tempter came and said, if you to be the son of Allah, command these stones to turn to bread. Jesus said, who is it that demands a test? It is no sign that one is a son of Allah, because he does miracles. The devils can do mighty things. I want y'all to take note of the term son of Allah. Islam, take note of that term. Did not the Gentile magicians do great things before the Pharaoh? My words and deeds in all the walks of life shall be the proof of my messiahship. And then the tempter said, if you go into Jerusalem, from the temple pinnacle, cast down yourself into earth, the people will believe you are the Messiah sent from Allah. This you can surely do. For did not David say, he gives his angels charge concerning you, and with their hands will they uphold lest you shall fall? Jesus said, I will not tempt the Lord my God Allah. Then the tempter said, look forth upon the world, hold its honors and its fame, behold its pleasures and its wealth. If you will give your life to these, they shall be yours. Jesus said, away from me all tempting thoughts. My heart is fixed. I spurn this carnal self with all its vain ambition and its pride. Take note of that. Verse 14 or verse 15. I'm going to read those again. No, verse 15. But Jesus said, away from me all tempting thoughts. My heart is fixed. I spurn this carnal self with all its vain ambitions and its pride. Verse 16. For 40 days did Jesus wrestle with his carnal self. His higher self prevailed. He then was hungry. But his friends had found him and they ministered to him. Basically brought him food and substance. Okay. And Jesus left the wilderness in the consciousness of holy breath. He came into the camps of John and taught. Okay. So the food was a little, it might have been regular food, but it tasted a little different now. His consciousness was changed. It's deep. But going back into the first verse of this chapter, you see that logos, term logos, is basically put in this basic verse. And we can look into the Bible in the book of John, St. John, first chapter. If y'all can recall when it says, in the beginning was the Word. Let me get that Bible. I'm gonna pull it up. I really do know it by heart, but just in case, because I'm human and I am acceptable to fallibility, I want to make sure for y'all on the line, that y'all get it the right way. In verse 1 of the book of John, the Gospel of John, it says, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Right? The same was the beginning with God. All things were made by him. Without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. So he's talking about, now, what I have here What I have here is this Bible particularly. Let me turn my camera on so y'all can see it. Y'all can see it. Islam, I have right here the Hebrew Greek keyword study Bible. I got this demonstration when trying to think. I might have got this when I was conscious, actually break the thing down, break the stuff down, but I'm not sure because I remember I used to go to this church and the pastor really took a liking towards me and he took me to shop for Bible and a Bible commentary. They said you need a Bible commentary to really break down what you're reading. So yeah, okay, yeah, I remember. Yeah, this is when I got this after I so-called became woke, and I went to where I went to. I might have went to a Christian bookstore in the mall I used to work at, and I picked this Bible up. Yeah, like but this particular thing here has a breakdown a lot of the stuff, Greek and Hebrew. So if we further look into the teaching of what it says in this scripture, particular passage, it says, as it breaks down in basically in the caption where it says John is the only writer who begins his story of Jesus Christ with his eternal existence, rather, not to give you doctrine, they give you doctrine. But logos, the word given to describe his existence at the beginning, is the intelligence. So they're saying the intelligence. What's the intelligence? What is intelligence? When you're dealing with divine intelligence, you're talking about the basically the know of the all, the gnosis. Okay, the gnosis is a difference. See, this intelligence, like if I was able to break down, like long division, that's intelligent. I can give you a formula for whatever, or you give me a trigonometry thing and I can tell you off the bat. That's intelligent. Intelligence also has another thing. If there's a thought process or there's things that don't happen. See, when you say things that just happen. It just that's not intelligent. Everything that happens for a reason and a cause is because there's intelligence involved. Okay, this intelligence which moves the universe, what moves the body, what moves the signal that comes from here to your body. Your cells are moving a particular way. There's certain degrees of separation in the universe from the planets. There's all intelligence involved. It's all systematic. Okay, the intelligence of what they're saying is the connection between, or the understanding, the divine intelligence of God. You know what I'm saying? That systematically is involved in all things in creation. This is what it's saying. And Jesus is the logos, meaning he's the one who's plugged himself, or he has that exact link while in flesh to the intelligence. And he's the reflection to show that every man or woman has that particular intelligence within them. So the logos, paying way for the logos, the know of all, the all in all, the knowing of all things, the sun and bone. You know what I'm saying? The paving the way for the logos, the word. The word is the intelligence. Okay. It is the intelligence because it's the same as above, so below. The macrocosm the microcosm of the macrocosm correspondence is shown in the action of providing books such as this and the Holy Quran in Mecca. It provides the understanding that that same in nurture that gets us to script particular things on paper is the same thing with Allah manifesting creation. Islam, it's the same thing. And basically the Holy Scriptures is basically the reminder, the light of that. Because if you plug into it and you go to write down your experience, that in some type of way is a holy book. But even if you journal some of your meditation and or a revelation that comes to you through your meditation, that's your personal holy book. Everybody received the holy book at a time when they were going into connecting to that intelligence. Everyone, all the prophets had to be connected in some shape or form to give you that lesson or give you that teaching. Prophet Abu Ali, he didn't necessarily write extensively from cover to cover our Moorish Holy Quran, but what was inspired through him and what he knew from his journey in understanding Allah and the scope of what he knew, he was able to gather the necessary lessons and put them in this book. He had to give us the Jesus degree because it is the understanding the highest degree of man's connection to the Most High. So as I say, don't throw your Bibles out. Don't throw Jesus away. Take it from the European. Take him from the European. Go away, take him down from the cross. Clothe him up. Put some melanin back in Islam and take the lessons from where it is. He's your brother. He's a prophet. In the scripture, they'll say son of Allah, right? In the most Islamic traditions, in the greater Ummah of Islam, that would be considered bid'ah and some level shirk. Okay. And I could sympathize with that understanding if that's what we were saying with lines up with that. But a son of God is not necessarily dealing with an offspring, but it's someone who embodies the character, the connection to the Most High. It is one who is well connected to the Most High. Is considered a son of God. You can look it up. If you look up the metaphysical definition of a son. Actually, let's go to that. Because we can clear this up right now this is very important for you brothers and anyone else on to understand that, we don't want to confuse people when we read particular passages and stuff like that. We don't want to do that. Let me put this down. Oh, I'm on a thing, John. Let me go here. Put up that thing. So, pull it up real quick. I know it's gonna pop up. Yeah. I said that's what's up. Son. Is a prodigal son. What is a spiritual son? A certain man. Understood initially alone, the body of us certain legal action. That physical meaning of son. Here we go. Meta, the healing of nobleman's son, the nobleman representing the exalted thoughts, makes more direct contact with divine mind, and so seeks to have the healing power brought to bear upon the activity in the subconsciousness, son, at Capernaum, which is apparently dying, in other words, losing sight of the light, the substance necessary for its perfect expression. So it's a son at Capernaum. But Jesus did not go down to the sick child, because in doing it, it's quickening, healing, working. A spiritual I am does not direct its force into the realm of effects or give weight to adverse appearances, but calmly and deliberately declares the truth. Self-consciousness receives the word, and it's comforted, healed. The bodily activity serves bear witness to the fact that the harmony and order are restored. The Father knew himself, believed his whole house. So, as you can see, it's telling you the meaning of son, or what the metaphysics of a son is. The son is not someone of the progeny, like I said, it's someone's offspring, but it's someone who's divinely connected to the divine mind. Now, this first paragraph will tie in perfectly into a chapter 15 as we read on. Okay. I'm gonna hop back to the chapter because I don't want to labor too long. I apologize. And he went forth into the wilderness to be alone with Allah, that he might look into his inner heart and note its strength and worthiness. And with himself he talked, and he said, my lower self is strong. By many ties I'm bound down to carnal life. Have I the strength to overcome and give my life a willing sacrifice for men? When I shall stand before the face of men and they demand a proof of my messiahship, what will I say? So, Jesus realizes in the wilderness, he wants to go in the wilderness first in order to seclude himself. And in this part, he gets a chance to be by himself for a self-examination. And during the self-examination, up to this point in the chapter, he begins to question himself, to really say, am I really ready for this? Can I do this? Am I, what should I say? I'm not sure. And this is describing an uncertainty that appears in Jesus of what he does. Because he said, I'm really weak. Like, my lower self be kicking up. Now this is the older Jesus now. This is not the 12-year-old Jesus who was breaking down the tools of the workshop of the mind. This is not Jesus that was sitting with Barato Rabo and breaking stuff down, the meaning of life and all that. This is the latter Jesus now. He went through some stuff. Islam, he's like, yeah, I'm weak. I'm bound down by fleshy things. I gotta get away, man. Like, because we're approaching Ramadan, and what the importance of Ramadan, is to slow things down. To just as Jesus went into the wilderness, we gotta go back into seclusion, into our place. We gotta question ourselves. Okay, how's my life this year? What did I didn't take advantage of, spiritually, morally, those type of things? Am I still the same person I was before? Did I pick up good habits or bad? Islam? Am I, what should I be able to do, when tempted or when someone challenges me? And can I even meet the challenge that I'm supposed to be, that I'm supposed to meet? Am I supposed to feel can I feel the position or the place that you put me, Allah? So these are questions that, we all should ask. Like, why am I suffering this? Or why am I going through this? See, the Ramadan is a beautiful thing because if it's done right, you can get a lot of answers. If it's done right, you can actually examine yourself, and really figure some things out going on. See, a lot of Muslims in the Greater Ummah, a lot of them are going to be focused on, adhering to the Sunnah more during Ramadan. They're going, and it's going to be kind of like in a box of their understanding of Sunnah in the way of, Muhammad, or their understanding of Muhammad. But Moorish Americans, Moorish American Muslims, Moorish scientists, and Moors from, and other people in different spiritual, esoteric disciplines in Islam or whatever, during the month of Ramadan, we're going to actually, it's a time to actually explore yourself and your limitations and your weaknesses. Explore your heart to get closer to Allah in that way. Yes, keep up with the fasting. And the fasting is not just, no water and no food, but the fasting also is no negative thoughts, no negative words during Ramadan, during the time. That's also part of the fast. It's not, I'm just going to go without water and food, but I'm still going to curse my neighbor out. I'm still going to, lie about this person, plot against this person, such. I'm gonna cop an attitude. No, you ruin your fast. It don't matter what happens during Ramadan. Your mood has to exhibit a divine mood or divine attitude. So somebody may make you upset. Take a breather. This is a little sidebar, but for the most part, but and understanding how blessed Ramadan is at the time when it comes, we have to understand it's giving us the opportunity to be like Jesus in this chapter, to search ourselves, to be tempted, because you will be tempted. For 30 days, you're supposed to go without those particular habits that may and try to break them. You know what I'm saying? You know, the best way you can and show up. Okay, and there's no compulsion, but at the same time, we work for perfection. We're not perfect, but we work towards it. So, in that matter being said, Jesus was tempted. Later on in this chapter, as I'm about to read. But prior to that, he had doubts, and when he had doubts, that's when the tempter came. Okay, he was particularly fasting and broke down to his lowest during his fast, to the point the tempter came and tempted him 3 times. Okay, but they're highlighting only 3 in this. But you notice if you read later in the chapter, it says he was tempted throughout the 40 days that he fasted. Islam. So move forward. And I'll start with verse 6. And then the tempter came and said, if you be the Son of Allah, command these stones to turn to bread. And Jesus said, who is the man to test? It is no sign that one is a son of Allah because he does a miracle. The devils can do mighty things. And that's a deep verse, Morris. That's a deep verse. Even devils do mighty things. This is why a lot of brothers and sisters are confused now of nationality and these different things, because we kind of get taken by the nationality, the glittery and shiny nationality card. We get taken by the words of legalese that one may speak. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they must be the truth because they got X, Y, and Z. They got they know how to talk. They said they driving on their own plates and such X, Y, and Z. But as you say, the devil can do mighty things. He said, in verse 8, what is it? Did not the Gentile magicians do great things before the Pharaoh? They may have a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that proves their divinity or proves their rightfulness. See, the reason why the Moorish Divine National Movement and the Moorish Science of America is the right tool for uplifting the so-called Black African American Negro in America is because it was divinely given. Nobody had a program like the Prophet Noble Drali. Nobody took the measures like Prophet Noble Drali to go down to Havana, Cuba to represent us in order to solidify us as a nation state here in America. You got internet demonstrations all popping up every other week. Somebody trying to do it better than the Prophet. Well, Allah bless them if it's something that they want to do and they feel like what they're doing is right, then hey, but maybe they'll come to the truth later. But if not, our job is to stand forth as the truth. We don't need to have particular things to prove that we're the right one. We exhibit love, we exhibit knowledge that we have of Allah. That's what it shows. Okay, and that's what you can, consider correlating to that verse. Verse 9, my words and deeds in all the walks of life shall be the proof of my Messiahship. My words and deeds. What we do, our words, those type of things. Verse 10, and the tempter said, if you will go into Jerusalem, from the temple pinnacle, cast down yourself to earth, people will believe you are the Messiah sent from Allah. This you can surely do, for did not David say, He gives his angels charge concerning you, and with their hands will they uphold lest you shall fall. And Jesus said, I will not tempt the Lord my God, Allah. And then the tempter said, look forth upon the world, hold its honors and its fame, hold its pleasure and its wealth. If you will give your life to these, they shall be yours. Jesus said, away from me, all tempting thoughts. My heart is fixed. I spurn this carnal self with all its vain ambition and its pride. Okay. I was trying to analyze those verses I just read, in a sense. Let's take a look at it. The tempter to most will appear to be the tempter for most part would basically appear to be Satan to most. That's Satan. You know, thinking of the history, thinking about a snake, thinking about some right horns and goat leggings, red goat leggings, whatever, with a pitchfork, you're sneaking up, or some type of mystical deceiver with you know how Hollywood does. But what the prophet Noble Ali wanted us to know, specifically when he gathered this particular chapter, is that the tempter was within Jesus. It wasn't nothing outside of Jesus that was tempting him. It was all his thoughts. Get behind me, all tempting thoughts. It was his thoughts. When you do Ramadan, the fasting is your thoughts that'll come up eventually. In the beginning, you're gonna cruise. In the middle is where it's gonna kick up. Like, whoop, oh man. You know what I mean? You start looking at the calendar, you start slipping a little bit, you know. Start off strong. Yeah, I'm good. Pray a lot, you know. In the middle, then it's like, oh. And by the end, you barely crawling through the finish Ramadan now. But that's how it is. That's how that's what's in us. That's how we work a lot of times. It's always a battle. And the beauty of this particular chapter, unlike the Bible, what the Bible does, the Bible will make it look like something outside of Jesus was tempted, that Satan appeared to him. But even the Bible, in its hidden meaning, is the same as what's in the Moorish Holy Quran. It actually is Jesus himself in his lower nature that was tempting him to do such things. That's why he talked about his lower self. He said his vain ambitions, his pride, get behind me, all those things. He had to call out everything that was in him that was making him have these thoughts. And tell you the truth, the doubt in the beginning was part of the lower self, part of the body. Because it's the lower self that gives you the blurred image of the truth of yourself. The doubt, the insecurities, that's the interpretation from a lower perception. Raise your thought to infinite wisdom, you'll understand life at a different perspective. That's hard. But once it's done, it can be little exercises like, okay, I'm gonna step back for a minute and review the situation that had just occurred. You do things like that, you'll see things differently. Islam, let me share something with y'all. Because in chapter 14, when we had reviewed, when we went over chapter 14 2 weeks ago, we discussed seclusion, hermit, right? Hermit energy, right? But let's take it from this perspective. What you're actually doing. What is it called? When you seclude yourself. The term used is called, it's Khalwa. Khalwa. Seclusion. The divine seclusion in Islam is Khalwa. Jesus in the Moorish Holy Quran was performing Khalwa. He secluded. Nobody was there with him except him. And this is something that a lot of Sufis are known to do. This great Sufi saint, Sheikh Ahmad Obama or Serene Tuba, he performed Khalwa. He secluded himself many a time. And I remember going to my first convention, and when I had a chance during one of our lunch breaks, I had asked Bailey Ill, I said, Bailey Ill, how many, did the Prophet, Woodrow Ali spend a lot of times in his private chambers? He said, Mo, the Prophet used to sleep in his private chambers. The Prophet Woodrow Ali stayed in his private chambers. He stayed in his private chambers. You ever seen remember the famous picture? Let's pull it up. Of the Prophet. Pull this picture up. Inshallah. Show this picture. Look at this picture here. When he's in his office, that's not his private chambers, but that's his office when he's in his office. And he got the two flags. That's the one, the one with everyone has a great debate on where the flags were. That's why this Sister Pearl. Look at this. You see this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 books stacked up on his desk. If you get the can't recall, but Brother Kerry Alinde has several books. He's on Facebook. He goes as K Alinde L, K-A Alinde L. So reach out to him. He has a lot of books, a lot of good books that he wrote himself, breaking down a lot of science. But he has a close-up shot of these books. And some of these books are law books. Some of these books are law books that the Prophet was into. Okay. But if you look at the books, I'm gonna count down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 books. Islam. Seven books. But Prophet had these books and he would stay studying. How did he know? How did a man born in North Carolina worked a manual labor job in New Jersey. Even though he started a movement, how did he know to go down to Havana, Cuba? Who did he talk to? What gave him the hint to go that way? Islam? That's deep. How did he know to file the religious affidavit in Cook County? How did he know to do that? Khalwa. Khalwa. His seclusion, his time by himself in his chambers. Himself, alone with Allah in himself, and he was able to connect. There's another letter by First Appointed Supreme Grand Sheikh Emilio said that he was in the private chambers with the Prophet, and the Prophet spoke through his God hands. I saw the letter, I got the letter, and I could say this: I'm still trying to figure out what he says, what that means. But you're talking about something divinely revealed in the private chamber. Something privately revealed. Something divinely revealed in a private chamber. Islam, let's move forward. Almost done, Morris. I'm not gonna leave you alone. So, and Jesus says in 15, repeat again, but Jesus said, away from me all tempting thoughts, my heart is fixed. I spurn this carnal self with all its vain ambition and pride. He said, my heart is fixed. Let me share again with y'all real quick. My heart is fixed. What does he mean by that? How important is that? Or that term, my heart is fixed. Well, let's look at the Khalwa, the definition, or what Khalwa said, what it says in the Quran about Khalwa, the verses in the Quran. And it says, and this I'm gonna jot down. There's different ones here, but I'm gonna jot down to I'm gonna jot down to here where it says Surah the cave, basically, or Surah Kaf, verses or ayat 10 and 9, or basically 9 and 10, or this is more. Do you think that the people of the cavern and Arakim have constituted an extraordinary thing among our prodigies? When the young people had taken refuge in the cave, they said, O our Lord, give us a mercy coming from you, and assures us righteousness in all that concerns us. Very short verse, but very deep. If anyone reading this in the content can see that the people of the cavern in Arakim are possibly people who appear to be divine. or have some base of knowledge over. And that what was fearful is that the youth would end up following these people. Okay. But in this particular ayat, it's spoken that the youth went in seclusion, Khalwa. And then the Lord asking Allah for the mercy catering to them, their own mercy, seeking knowledge for themselves, seeking position with Allah for themselves. And the end part says, and assures us righteousness and all that concerns us. They're not going to tell us about us. We're going to find out for ourselves in seclusion. And then the depth understanding is sometimes our intentions get caught up in illusionary or different illusionaries in life or different people that may stand before us. But there's always going to come a time where you will have the responsibility to stand on your own and find out for yourself. Always follow your teacher if he or she is in alignment. But at the end of the day, you can't blame your teacher. You should be seeking just as well. You should be in seclusion just as well. When the time is right, if it calls for it. And I can give you all a hint. If any time things are looking kind of crazy in your life, take some time out. Take some time out. Let's see what else. I'm trying to find a hadith. Prophet Muhammad Islam, where he says, Prophet Muhammad, he says, there's a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad Islam. He says, there's inside a man there's flesh that if it bears wrong, it'll lead the whole body astray. If it does right, if it bears truth, then the whole body will do the same. Okay. He's speaking of the heart. The flesh and that flesh that exists in man is the heart. So going forward in that understanding is that when Jesus says in 15, away from me all tempting thoughts, my heart is fixed. See, relating to that particular hadith, the heart is very important. And this is the method. This is why the Khalwa is very important. This is why the seclusion is very important. Because even in the beginning of the chapter, if you recall, the beginning of chapter 15, why did he go into the wilderness? And it says in verse 2, and he went forth into the wilderness to be alone with Allah, that he might look into his inner heart and note his strength and worthiness. The heart is very important. Can we see Allah? Oh, where's the closest place to meet him? In the heart. See, just another sidebar. I don't care what any European has wrote about Prophet Noah in this book. And if anybody ever read the book, The Princess and the Prophet, is probably the most non-scholastic piece of literature. It's like he should lose his title for writing that book because he insinuates so much falsehood. He's not a sympathizer because he's looking for people to validate his book. His book wasn't even supposed to reach us. You know what I'm saying? The Ali Men brothers found it, but they kept it to themselves. But some of us found across, I stumbled across the interview. You know what I mean? But regardless, the man's book is about our prophet is false. Trying to tie him to Al Capone and all these things. He's making these like exaggerated assertions. A man who tells you that the closest place to meet Allah is in the heart is not trying to control you. He just gave you the most precious key of existence, is knowing that the closest place to meet Allah is in the heart. You can't control nobody when you say stuff like that. So, but you see the correlations more. And Jesus, his seclusion, understanding the importance of how you connect yourself to the heart. I was asked yesterday, am I teaching people how to, basically, live on the plane or dwell, on the plane of soul and those type of things. It's like anybody can teach you on that level. They could tell you about it, but show people how to do it. That's a different level. Your heart has to be in place. My answer for that brother was, it starts with the heart. Purify the heart first. You got to go through purity first before you can do those type of things. To answer brother McCoy Bay, you got to purify first before you can go to the plane of soul. You got to detach yourself from the plane of flesh and things. That's purifying your heart. Where is your heart? So this is if you want to consider, this is a lesson on how to do it. Plane of soul is there. Matter of fact, you always are. We always on the plane of soul. Plane of soul is a breath away, Mo. It's a breath away. That's all. It ain't. It's just like it. Done that enough times. Plane of soul will be open to you. The vibration will be open to you. You on the plane of soul every night. You close your eyes once. You think the astral plane is? You astral project. It's plane of soul. The spirit man is connected to Allah, but you got to travel through soul first before you get there. It's dealing with the deep thoughts of your psyche. Get through the fleshly thoughts. Fleshly thoughts are the ones that are connected to your nervous system and your sensory, your fleshly sensories. Those are the things that trigger, those thoughts that trigger the sensories. You want to eat, you want to have sex, you know, those type of things. Getting those out the way, then dealing with the soul. Right? You're dealing with other, you know, understandings of life and different, you know, some of your trauma is on the solar plane, on the plane soul. You gotta deal with that. Islam. So move forward. Going here, we're gonna wrap it up. And it says in 16, for 40 days did Jesus wrestle with his cardinal self. His highest self prevailed. He then was home, but his friends had found him and they ministered to him. And Jesus left the wilderness and in consciousness of holy breath, he came to the camps of John and taught. It's a key too. For more seeking to teach, we gotta be in the consciousness of the holy breath. You gotta have the spirit. Islam, we have to have that spirit. We have to be in the spirit when we speak. How do we do that? He was in the consciousness of the holy breath. He had to go through all that to get himself in the consciousness of the holy breath. Hoping that this Ramadan, inshallah, will get us in the consciousness of the holy breath. Islam, prepare us for, you know, to take us on another level or take us to where we need to be. Right now, you know, we got a lot of things going on, each and every one of us. And it would serve us right to have a clear picture of where to go and what to do. You know, take this time to study. Take this time to get in connection with yourself. Islam. Yeah, we'll be revisiting this chapter again, definitely. This chapter is very pivotal. It's short, but it's pivotal on a lot of measures. Islam. So let's review one thing. Remember, when we speak of the Son of God, we're not speaking of God had implanted, you know, himself or was part of a conception. What we're talking about is one person who's elevated his connection to the divine thought or intelligence, or Allah, or the Most High, connecting themselves to that. And that serves their purpose of being high, you know, so therefore their body or their very character is in alignment with the divine, deserving to be called in some level, on an esoteric level, Son of God. And that's why that particular term is thrown around in different places. But when you understand that it's not meaning that God gave, you know, for that person is God, the God to be worshipped. You know, this is where Roman Europeans, Pilsky Europeans, when they took the doctrine, the Gnostic doctrine, that's what they did. Originally, Jesus was symbolic. But what happened was, let me close this out. Jesus was symbolic. Originally, Jesus was symbolic. And within that symbolism, it was to teach man's inner self and his connection. If I were to read, and it's in there, it's in the first, the book of John, the first chapter, verse 1. And it talks about that. It's just that through Christianized doctrine, we were looking at this thing from, you know, from the perspective of the pastor. or what they were preaching. If you know anything about, a lot of pastors and ministers that actually taught in seminary what to say and what to preach. Okay. So when they give you this particular book, they're giving it to you from a different perspective. But let's read that particular passage one more time, and let's really think about what's being said. This book of John, chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. How are you going to be with something and then was God? What are you talking about? You're talking about dual function from a perspective that the divine intelligence is with God, not with anything else. It's with God. That's the point of origin. And to be more precise, it is God. It was God. The all is mine. The first principle of Tahuti, of Hermeticism, is the all. The universe is mine. Allah is a force, is the grand intelligence, the grand force that we believe. We don't believe that Allah is a man with arms, legs, and so forth. That's why, all honors due to brothers and sisters in the 5% nation down to earth. The lessons were needed at the time to raise the thinking of the young brothers and sisters in the streets of New York at the time. But once you get to that understanding, you have to raise it. You can't give anatomy to the all grand mind or to the force, because Allah. You can't give an anatomy to it. There's no anatomy to that. Because the anatomy itself, man, when you understand creation, the anatomy is only a pixelation or fixation dealing with dealing with sequences, or the Fibonacci series, the Fibonacci sequence, dealing with the fractional pi, not pi, phi, dealing with phi. Pi is the opposite. You're dealing with the point of creation. That's all different. I'm getting off. But at this point, in verse 2, it says, the same was in the beginning with God. Verse 3, all things were made by him. Without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. Okay? And then it says, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended not. Okay. From a linear perspective, they're giving you good versus evil. But if you understood the scientific sequence, this is they give you a scientific sequence in these verses of creation and understanding creation and life, what it is, and it exists. It shines in darkness, but darkness comprehended not. What is comprehend? You gotta look at what would be a deeper meaning for comprehend. Comprehend, to understand. To understand is, they say, well, upset, accept it is more than accept something. You can accept something but still not understand it or comprehend it. The light shined in darkness, so the darkness couldn't consume the light. It pierced through the darkness. It pierced through matter, space. the void did not consume what was coming forth. And that's the same thing cast down into each and every human being that exists now. It's the same light from that point of creation. Islam? Yeah, these, once you begin to read the Bible from a different point of perspective, you get past a lot of the mundane, the dogma, and those type of things. Understand this itself, read right, is a book of science. Got it beats the brothers out there, Hebrew Israelite brothers out there, shouting and screaming, taking the book literally, and it's just like you don't want to do that. All you're doing is casting the same shackles on that was cast on your ancestors. Like, yeah, you flipped the Bible, but you flipped it. You're still flipping it linear. You're not flipping it from another perspective. You're not completing the circle. So, all right, Islam Moors, is there any questions about the materials before we about what I read or chapter 15? Any questions, concerns about chapter 15 before we close out? Any questions about fasting or the Khalwa? We'll go more into fasting and in in-depth understanding what it is as weeks approach into Ramadan. The Grand Body does, the Moorish Science of America do adhere to Ramadan. We do not seclude or I won't say seclude. I'll say we don't show prejudice towards our brothers and sisters who are deeply practicing in Ramadan or Salat. We understand that it is from Allah, and that these practices have deeper meaning to it. The Salat is something that all Muslims have done. It's in the Moorish Holy Quran, prostration, and all those type of things. Don't let no Moorish American say anything really different. If you want to make Salat, make Salat. Learn it. It's a humbling experience. It challenges you because there's times your body and flesh does not want to do it. Because once you get into the rhythm of doing it, it challenges you. It challenges you. It challenges the composition of your it challenges you across the board because now you have your mind is kind of shifting a little bit. The vibration of the words being said during the Salat, as your head touches the floor, the vibration, that's your front pineal gland. It's hitting the floor. Your alpha waves are actually moving more when the Salat is made. If done right. So, and then the fasting during Ramadan, serves good, and that's going to come in handy, especially during this coronavirus shutdown. So, I'm still working on announcement. I'm still working on the new membership class. Because I want to add some stuff besides the modules. I'm gonna add conduct, just basically basic Moorish American conduct, how we should, greet each other and speak to each other, inshallah. I'm gonna add the greetings. I don't want to add a fee to it, like I said, it's usually free, but I might add a fee to it because my thing is this, and I don't know if you boys can hear me, but I know something for me, and I know I reference. You're gonna hear me reference this a lot because it was a pivotal point in my life, and it really I learned a lot of lessons from it. But when I actually joined, when I pledged in college, and I'm not encouraging anybody to do it really, but I know for me, if anybody knew me in college, I wasn't really about it, for a long time. But when I actually did it, I understood. It gave me a glimpse of what organization and everything, because I wasn't part of anything. But needless to say, when I did it, it taught me from a level of when I finished my process, I got a lot of gifts. Like I got paddles, I got a jacket, a few shirts. Um, I think I got cufflinks. I might have got cufflinks. I can't remember, but I know I got the jacket. The jacket came out of somebody's pocket. That came out of their pocket. But I found out a lot of my gifts were the money because I was like, yeah, it's 250, right? It says 250. My dean of pleasure said my fee was 250. I was like 250. So I got 250. I was like, I gave him 250. But after I was done, I went on the website. I was like, wait a minute, the undergrad fee is only $100. So like, I think it was $100. I think $100 initial, $50 every year. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, yo. But then I realized the money that was spent on my paddles, on all my other gifts that I got, you know, um, that's what it was. It went to a lot of that stuff, you know. But for the most part, what I want to do, you know, I don't like I said, I don't want to attach a more fee. I still want to keep the $17. And I'll say this: anybody who joins, I give the option of you can place an order for your feds, and you can place an order for your if you want a baptismal record or those type of things. We have a baptismal record. We have uh, a record of live birth. We have that. What else do we have? We have different instruments that can be used. Along, of course, if you have a birth certificate, those things work. But these instruments that can help along with you navigating in your as yourself as a Moorish American. It's coming from an official religious body politic, and that's very important. So, but I'm all about accolades. Once you do something, I don't want you to just be, oh, I got it, and for those who have went through the process and I didn't necessarily, please forgive me. It's going to get better, but it's going to get better. But for the most part, I want everyone to really, for those coming in, to really, feel like they're part of something. So, um, to even to the point, I believe the next people coming that may proclaim their nationality with us, we're gonna throw another event. Even if I gotta ask the NOI to use their spot again, like we just want to go up there, have a dinner, and we'll just do a present. We'll present the brother with their nationality card. We'll have a nationality ceremony. You know, so I just want to make that announcement. So I'm working. It's hopefully every Thursday we can have it. But Thursday or Tuesday. Probably maybe Tuesday be better. We can have it Tuesday night. If we have a Tuesday night, that might be better. It'll be new members. We'll do new members, and then we might do a possible Islam. We might do a new members, and then we'll probably do a civic class because I think I need to, and I might ask the brother I might ask Sheik Assistant Grand Sheik brother A. Smith Bey to jump on and do a demonstration with us. Because I think what it is, people are confused about the Moorish Science of America, what it is and what it functions at. But we got to clarify that for the people and let them know that this is a body politic, what that means, and understand. Because we only really did part one of the first one. I got that on YouTube, so if anybody needs that, I'll repost. But we need to go over that again, and not only that, do the rest of it, so you know why he went to Havana, Cuba, to the Pan American Conference and those type of things. Like people that's not a religious, if you're just a religious organization, you ain't going down to Pan American Conference down in Cuba, Havana, Cuba. You're not going down there. You know what I'm saying? There's no point for you if you're just a regular church or a regular organization. You know, you don't do that. You just tend to your religious duties and stuff like that. But the prophet was taking on a whole nother scale. You know what I mean? That's when people compare us to the Vatican. You know, I'm not saying we are like the Vatican in that sense, but at the same time, our lawful structure is supposed to be similar because it's already recorded and set up in that way. You know, what happened between why it ain't the way it is now, that's a whole different story. And that's what me and Brother Ishmael Bay, we build on that all the time. And because we had to get the story right. We got to get the records. We got to get the story right. We got to tell it. Whether it's foul play, misappropriation, all that. We got to own up to it. This is divine national movement. To be divine, you got to be honest. The second principle is truth. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I'll be honest. We messed up. Yes. The elders messed up. They didn't know what they had, but the prophet said it. He said he didn't know what they had. We were mad for it. But we mad. Them elders, we gonna send them in the back. Man, I understand that. But hey, you know, look, man, law governs all events. They there for a reason. Everybody quick to sit the elders back and take charge. Are you ready to take charge? Are you ready? The prophet went down to Havana, Cuba. Some of y'all can't even go out of state. Some of us ain't never been to you know what I'm saying, the next state or 2 states over. Some of us ain't never been out the block. Like, you know what I mean? Like, can't even, you know, the boys talking about they can't even get off their mama couch. Talking about they want to sit the elders in the back. Like, come on. Let's think about that. The elders one day, through divine inspiration, got up and said, look, we're going to sit in the back. Let y'all go ahead. Y'all can have that. We ain't going to say that. Right? Man, we have been, Muslim put us up under all types of different demonstrations. They up with some Sufi. Even though we're related to the Sufi, well, you know, that's even has to be defined and talked about. Like, yeah, we have very Sufi-like understanding. We are very much related to the Sufis of Islam. But guess what? That doesn't mean we practice a particular customs of a Sufi order. We don't do that. If you want to practice a Sufi order customs, that's on you. That's your personal growth. The Moorish Science of America already has its customs, already has its traditions to move us forward spiritually. The only issue was because of the division and the elders that withheld the secrets and they passed away. We don't have access to that stuff. You know, it's going to take a sincere, humble intuitive person or intuitive people to bring that back. Like I explained in that Surah Khalwa with ayat 9 and ayat 10. And it talks about the youth going into the cave for themselves, asking Allah for the mercy for themselves, and then granting, giving them righteousness, raising them up, Islam, for themselves. But see, or as we want to come in, sit the elders in the back, but we ain't getting in tune with Allah. We're not going into the wilderness. We gotta go into the wilderness. Let Allah speak to us. And I'm not trying to be spooky. I'm not trying to sound like, a minister or pastor, but it ain't gonna work. We running off of, what we think is right. We'll be out here being some other type of demonstration. Like, you know what I mean? Or we got a new flag. We're going to put a new flag up. You know what I mean? Just the flag that the prophet really meant. He said a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. Come on. We ain't say no extra stuff on it. He said that's our flag. What's flag is the Moorish. If you're a Moorish American, that's your flag. Ain't you Moorish? Shit the set flag. That's it. And that's your mother flag. That's the flag that you had. How old is our flag? Over 10,000 years old. Over 10,000 years old. Listen to the language. Over 10,000 years old. That means that he said 10,000 for a reason. It's over 10,000. Something happened 10,000 years ago. That's pivotal. But that's a whole another demonstration. Let me get the Islam Solo. You there? Hope you didn't fall asleep on me. Islamo, you there? Get the all right. About to close the meeting. Once again, I ask if anybody has any concerns. Any concerns? Any questions, concerns about what was said today? If I said anything out of turn or anything in opposition to the movement or opposition to Allah and His holy books, please forgive me. Do not look towards the Prophet or the movement or Allah or the religion of Islam. Look towards me for the fault. If I say anything out of turn, that wasn't right. I take full blame, and no blame on Noble Ali, Prophet Muhammad, Jesus, or Allah Himself. There's all blame is on me. So,
Islam, Sheikh.
Islam. What's up?
You're gonna read the letters?
Yeah, I'm about to read the letters to close out, Mo. You got a question?
You want me to read them? I got them.
Oh yeah, read them, Mo. Yeah, read them.
I just haven't read them in so long, and I just forgot what order it is.
Read Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. Read that one. You got it?
To the one that say to the members of the Moorish Temple of America?
It says, Prophet warns
Oh,
all Muslims, I hereby inform all members. That one?
okay, I got that.
Okay.
I got all three of them. You want me to read all three of them?
Yeah, read all three of them, Mo.
Okay. Islam. First I rise giving praise to Allah, and I give high honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The Moorish Science Temple of America, Noble Drew Ali founder. Send all official business to the Home Office in care of Supreme Grand Sheikh, present day Supreme Grand Sheikh, Chief Evangelist L. A warning from the Prophet to be read in every meeting. Islam.
Islam.
I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitated speech while on their job, homes, or in the public street. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We offer love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. And if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace, Noble Drew Ali. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation for their earthly salvation as American citizens. They are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds, the ones that paid their divine respect to me and movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations world would not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is this is the instruction from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I Noble Drew Ali. And that is why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid and cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam.
Islam. For those who came in late, don't worry. This meeting is recorded, so I'll have it available, whatnot. But we're closing now. Close out with the Prophet's prayer. Allah bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers, divine creed and principle. This we ask in thy holy name, in the seventh of Elohim. Amen. Islam, Moors, peace and love. Oh, don't forget, the 10th, dues are due on the 10th if you got it. If if you have a little problem, struggles, let me know. All right? But we gotta get back on our dues. All right? Islam?
Islam. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Don't forget, just go right to the website to pay your dues. Peace and love, Moors.